And then he was beardless. I know. It's disappointing. Anyway, this video has been a long time coming. And yes, bam! Battlefield Earth, Part 2, the review. I have no idea what happened last time. My last video was a good 15 minutes, and it got cut off, and I put my blood, sweat, and tears into the end of that video. But let's not worry about any of that crap. Let's jump right in. The end of Battlefield Earth, the movie. And to connect with the plot synopsis I was giving you before, the Cyclos have conquered the humans. The humans have been under the dominion of the Cyclos for, I believe, about 1,000 years. Man has been reduced to a primitive tribe, or a system of primitive tribes. Lots of superstitions, stuff that gets in the way of science and development. We've been reduced to cavemen. Now, like I said, the ending of the movie is quite possibly one of the stupidest things you're ever going to see in your life. Here's what happens. Cyclo has a gas. It's breathed gas. That's what it's called. It is extremely reactive with uranium. Now, okay, I'll follow you on that. So what happens is Johnny Goodboy Tyler and his band of merry men decide to try to send a nuclear weapon through the teleportation devices that the Cyclos have set up to transport minerals from one universe to another. And in this novel, it's multiple universes, which was odd. But anyway, that nuclear weapon goes through the teleportation and completely destroys Cyclo. Actually turns it into a sun. Completely obliterates the planet. I mean, if it was that easy to destroy Cyclo, some other race, the countless races that the Cyclos had conquered before, somebody would have already done it. It's just from a tactical standpoint, having these instant teleportation drives that all come back to your home planet. What race would be stupid enough to sprinkle these things all over the galaxy? And the thing is there's this whole plot point about how the teleportation drives are supposed to be really difficult to use. Like, there's a lot of stuff about how only the Cyclos can use it. But the simple fact of the matter is that a stupid human did it. Now, in the movie, it's bad. It's just straight up bad. They completely destroy Cyclo, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. The book is actually kind of cool. And this is what I was saying before. I don't understand why the movie made the decisions it made, because in the book it's actually really interesting. Rather than sending through one planet-busting nuclear weapon, they send through 10. 10 at one time. They make the point that each of these nuclear weapons is supposed to be powerful enough to disrupt the climate of Earth and make it unlivable. These are planet busters. Here's where it gets really cool, though. They send these 10 nuclear weapons through. They sever the connection between Earth and Cyclo. Nowhere do any of the characters actually believe they eradicated Cyclo. And for like a whole huge section of the novel, they're worried Cyclo is going to attack. And they're preparing for a Cyclo counterattack. And the funny thing was, I'd seen the movie, so I was like, they destroyed Cyclo in the movie. Did they not destroy Cyclo in the novel? Believe it or not, I was actually kind of on the edge of my seat because it handled it in such a different way. But it was cool because it left you kind of with this question, and none of the characters ever even had the conception that they could have ever knocked out Cyclo. I mean, it was kind of like this big pie in the sky hope that none of them actually believed that they could have, accomplished. So the best part of the novel is that it explains that the teleportation platforms had really strong force fields built into them to prevent that type of thing from happening. What happens is they send these 10 nuclear weapons through the teleportation drive, and you actually get to see it. I'm not going to go into the convoluted science that actually lets you see it. It has to do with the speed of light traveling. Just don't worry about it. Trust me, you don't care. But the force field drops. First nuclear weapon goes off. Yeah, we're not in the realm of science here. Just bear with me. First nuclear weapon goes off. Bam! It's contained. There's, some emergency measures going on around the platform, but it's contained. Bam! Second one goes off. Everything shakes. Some of the more, some of the structures start to fall down. bam! Third explosion goes off, and more starts to break away, and the force field starts to burrow through the Earth. This contained force field is continuously exploding as it's burrowing through the core of Cyclo. Down to the core, it destroys the planet. You know what? I don't care that the science just in a sea of stupidity. It was fun to read it. Like, it was actually fun to read how Cyclo was destroyed. And the fact of the matter was that, considering most of the characters didn't believe it could happen, it was a good read. I got to give Hubbard points on that. That movie completely destroyed, just completely made a mockery of the scene of the destruction of Cyclo. It was actually really enjoyable to read that. So, like I was saying, the bureaucracies, the Cyclos are really interesting characters because they're like satires of actual Earth bureaucracies, and that's just kind of the way L. Ron Hubbard wrote. And one of the things I want to do later, I'd really love to get a copy of Mission Earth, and that was the novel he wrote after this. Most people actually believe that Mission Earth is the worst science fiction novel ever written. I am going to read it, and I'm going to review it. But that's for another day. Let's talk a little bit more about, actually, Battlefield Earth. Hubbard's biggest failure is his characters. Johnny Goodboy Tyler is quite possibly the most ridiculous person I have ever read about. But that doesn't even pale in comparison to Biddy MacLeod. I can't even describe to you how stupid Biddy MacLeod is in his execution. You know you've done something wrong when your tragic death scene is the funniest part of the novel. And it is. Biddy MacLeod is this ridiculous kid who's supposed to be kind of like Johnny Goodboy Tyler's apprentice. He falls in love with one of the female characters in the book that I really don't care about. I don't even remember her name. She's quite possibly one of the biggest throwaway characters in the history of science fiction. But there's this scene where there's this complex fight between Johnny Goodboy Tyler and the Brigantes. I kind of like the Brigantes. I kind of rooted for them too. But anyway, they kill Biddy MacLeod. And there's this big dramatic scene where Johnny's like, no. When he's like basically killing all the Brigantes. And I'm sitting here just like, this is amazing in how much I don't care about Biddy MacLeod. Honestly, I was kind of glad he was dead so I wouldn't have to put up with his ridiculousness anymore. But here's where it gets fantastic. Before he died, Biddy MacLeod buys a locket for the girl he's in love with that I don't care about. And it says to my future wife. To my future wife. And, oh God. Johnny Goodboy Tyler, like, takes the locket and gives it to her, which, if your best friend ever dies and he has a locket that says to my future wife, I really wouldn't give it to his girlfriend. I don't know, maybe just spare her that. Many people would disagree with me. Anyway, there's this fantastic funeral scene where she gets the locket and she just throws herself on the casket. And I'm sorry, maybe I'm a terrible person, but I was dying laughing the whole time because I just did not care about these people. And Hubbard was trying to make it so dramatic, like the tears were streaming down her face, and I was like, no, it was amazingly bad. I enjoyed it in its badness. Just to give you an idea, I picked this section of the book out just because this is basically multiply this by like 1 billion and you have Battlefield Earth, and it's a pretty good demonstration of the pulp style that L. Ron Hubbard wrote in. I laughed when I read this, but I don't know, maybe you'll think it's interesting. Here we go. This is on page 7. This is like at the very beginning. This is not a description of Johnny. This is Johnny getting angry. You guys ready for this? Here we go. Oh yes, your father, a good man. Yes, a good man. Well, maybe he was your father. So this character is doubting that this person was actually Johnny's father. Johnny suddenly looked a little dangerous. He was standing there at ease, but he was wearing the skin of a puma that he himself had slain, and he had his kill club on a wrist thong. The club seemed to jump of its own volition into his palm. That is Battlefield Earth. Anyway, I know that you're supposed to avoid spoilers. I'm going to wrap this up. Hubbard's worth exploring just because he's a relic of an age that is so gone. People don't write like this anymore. And if they did, guess what? They wouldn't be published. There's this huge controversy about a book buying conspiracy that has somehow connected to the Church of Scientology. I could care less about the Church of Scientology for this review. I'm looking at him as a writer. It's interesting though because like a lot of his sales, they're pretty dramatically like good. And if you're interested in that, look it up. But what I would like to end off with is a brief comment about the very end. Battlefield Earth ends with a dramatic exploration of galactic bureaucracy in that Earth owes a mortgage that it cannot pay. Yeah, I know. Very strange turn for a book like Battlefield Earth to take. Anyway, there's this weird deal that the humans work out with the bureaucratic races that own Earth, that it's this really strange banking maneuver that switches the galaxy from a imperial standpoint to a social standpoint, like it's socialized governments working through the galaxy. And I was like, what? It turns into political philosophy towards the end, and it's strangely appropriate for the time. And I was like, wait a minute, is L. Ron Hubbard seriously offering political comment for our current age with this? Because let me tell you something. If you look at the final solution that saves Earth and reinvents the economy of the galaxy, it gives all the power in the universe to the banks. The banks are the gatekeepers of the economies. They have every single key. And I was like, if L. Ron Hubbard really did accidentally kind of look forward to the economic crises that we're kind of getting into now, if he's actually getting into some odd Keynesian economics, he did it by accident. I really don't believe he did it on purpose. But at the same time, it's crazy boring at the end because the action is just out of this world stupid, and the wrangling is just incoherent at best at times. But the philosophy that he's channeling at the end, it's actually kind of worth it to get there because I don't know, he accidentally found himself into an economic subject that would be really cool for debate. The only thing is you have to get through a whole pile of trash to get there. So my verdict on Battlefield Earth: if you are a dedicated, diehard science fiction fan and you want to experience a bit of history, I wholeheartedly recommend Battlefield Earth because it's got some cool little snippets in it, and you don't see science fiction written like this anymore. God, you don't even see much crap this thick anymore. The thing is like 900 pages in the hardcover. But if you're looking for an enjoyable read that you're going to get through fast and that you can just kind of relax and take in some really good ideas, if you're looking for something intellectual, I would go somewhere else. Final verdict: 2 out of 5 Baileys. Yeah, I know, it's a really ridiculous rating system. If you guys have better ideas, let me know. Next time, I'm thinking Tommy Knockers. What do you guys think? Thank you. Awesome. Have a great day.